Hi, this is Jake with Vibrate-A-Way again, here with Dr. Daniel Woodruff for part 2. If you have not seen part 1 of the basic theories and concepts of Vibrate-A-Way, be sure to check that out in the YouTube channel. We got a list of videos, and right before this one, we have part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, this might be the it's all Greek to me sort of feeling, because there we talk about the basic theories and concepts of the problems in the healthcare industry focusing on the pain instead of the accommodations. The brain stacks on itself. While that video kind of focused on the problems, this one's going to be focusing on the solutions and how we can use the brain to our advantage.
Right. Wow. You said a lot in a little bit of time. I like that. I like that. Yeah, so what we're going to do today is we're just going to, I'm just going to do a quick summary and then we'll dive into it here. The last video, basically what I was hoping you got from all of that was that the body can talk to the brain. And it sends its signals based on different things that are happening to it. And then the brain will change the body based on what the body has said to it. So if you have an injury, the brain is going to accommodate to that injury, and it's going to change your posture and your movement. The brain's only real main concern when it comes to the musculoskeletal system is to make sure that you remain stable, okay, that you're not going to fall down. It doesn't really care if you can move or if you hurt. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. That's the odd thing about the brain. So based on that, what we have to do is we have to tell the brain, undo that accommodation. And there is a way of doing it. As we discussed, most healthcare approaches deal with the specific organ. So if it's the knee, we're going to deal with the knee. But the brain changed the physics of that knee because of an injury. So now we have to tell the brain, put that back to normal. Let's go back to the way it used to be, okay? You're not under danger anymore.
Right.
You know, the brain always assumes that that threat is still there. Mm-hmm. So how we do this is those nerves that talk to the brain respond to vibration, percussion, stretch, elongation, velocity, changes in angulation, all kinds of things trigger the nerves to say to the brain, hi, this is the body, this is what we're feeling. Okay? And then that's when the brain makes its changes. So I, in creating Vibrate-A-Way, created a system to talk to the brain through that nervous system. And I use vibration. Obviously, it's called Vibrate-A-Way. I mean, that makes sense. But I utilize vibration into these different muscles that have been changed to talk to the brain, to get the brain to reset it, to take it back to factory normal. You see, we were born with a posture. And I know I might offend some of my evolutionist friends when I say God doesn't do anything just because. Our postures were put in a way that it is the beginning and end point of all motion. And proper posture means proper movement, which means an absence of accommodation and pain. Poor posture leads to poor movement, which results in more accommodation and more pain. So what I need to do is just to tell the brain to get us back into that normal posture. And I do so by applying vibration in a very sequential order. There is a very specific pattern you have to do for the brain to make these changes. And as you go through the videos of application, it'll seem like, hey, no problem, bam, 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 and you might be tempted to do it out of order. You can't. Right. The brain actually rejects it. It won't have done anything if you go out of order. And that's how precise the brain is. So what we do is we apply that vibration in the order. And it took me years of experimentation and research to figure out that exact order of how the brain will accept the feedback to make change.
I wanted to talk with you about that quickly too. It seems like that process, the theory is very set in, the problem and the accommodations, but it seems like the solution with vibrating right now has been a bit of trial and error and trying to figure out what the brain responds to. Would that be correct?
Yeah. Excuse me. So much of it is what we'd say logical. Okay. Well, it makes sense to apply it here and here. But what I really found is there would be critical junctures at which the brain would want something that made no logical sense. It's like, okay, I don't know why, but we have to do this area of the body now. And those were the things that held up the development of this, but it also is what prevents people from being able to buy a massager at home and just do it where it makes sense to do it.
Right.
And that's why they don't get the results. They get temporary ease of pain and movement, but it comes right back. And that's what makes this different, okay, is I have tapped into the exact code of the brain. You do computers. And so you know this. When you program a computer, it's got to be very specific. There is a specific pattern of what you put into it to get the computer to perform, right?
Exactly. You don't just throw electronics in there and see what happens.
Right. And so the brain is the same way with its feedback. It wants to hear a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so if we just jump around, just like if people watch part 2 of this before part 1, it's not going to make anywhere near the sense.
Right.
And so as a result, people might not do it. Well, the brain's the same way.
To tag along on that, I think we have a whole video on that, but a big difference between a lot of the massage therapy and just, getting a massager from Walmart and putting it on your knee, and this is that you've taken the time before really bringing this out and telling anyone about it. You've spent years and years seeing what works and throwing out a lot of things that didn't work.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And what's really unique about this is I have set up the basic core of doing the entire body and being able to do other specifics, sports injuries, children, the senior population. But the brain is continually revealing new things to me. I'm still in the experimental phase, even though I've been doing this technique for 8 years. I have keep finding new little gems that I'm finding about the brain. It's very magnificent. And to be able to utilize the power, the absolute power of our brain to be able to make these changes, it's amazing. And we'll do many more videos about the brain and its role, and I'll be able to reveal so many more things about this.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Please do, if you have enjoyed this video, click the like button, click the notification bell, and subscribe as well. And check out our Patreon in the description for even more detailed videos.